Almost 2023, how did that happen? I think 2022 just flew by, didn't it? And I just think we're in such a fortunate position to not be kind of fearing our freedom being taken away. And I am still that person who is just so grateful that we aren't in the slammer and that we have all of this opportunity available to us. It's not without its challenges and restrictions with the way that the world is at the moment, but we just have so much that we can achieve in the upcoming year. And I'm hoping this video will help you to plan out how you might like your year to go for you. So just to start off, I'm going to say, if you're a happy person who is happy with your life and you don't want to make any changes, you absolutely shouldn't feel obliged to. Just because it's a new year and it's January and everybody's hopping onto detoxes or planning their next big move, if you are happy and content and you feel fulfilled in your life, you don't have to make all of these major changes that society might suggest that you do. You could, however, make some improvements here and there so that your life is working a little bit more efficiently for you, and that might add to your happiness a little bit. But there's absolutely no pressure at this time of year to be doing anything outside of exactly what you want to do for you in your life. I actually go through the year and I reassess where I'm at and to make sure that I'm still on the right course. Either I need to redefine my goals, I need to change my direction, but I make sure that I keep on a continuous path of kind of evaluation just to make sure that I'm not headed down a road simply because I started off on one and I just want to get to the end. I make sure that I'm enjoying that journey and that I'm still looking forward to what I'm hoping will be at the end of that road. But I think January can be a really good time because some of us have a little bit of time off work. There's lots of offers and deals available. There's a lot of other people who are goal setting and changing things in life that you can draw motivation and inspiration for, and also feel some support that you're not just out there on a limb doing it on your own. So let's start with decluttering life, and that can take many forms and it can mean many different things to different people. But I think we do have some common areas like our homes. I don't like to either work or create in a space that doesn't really lend itself to what I want to achieve there. So if I'm cooking, I like a nice clear space. I can put some music on. I'm not having to think about the logistics of moving around things, and maybe I haven't done the dishes and put things away, I can't find things. It just adds that air of distraction and unnecessary stress, even if you don't realise it because you just get used to doing it. So I definitely recommend getting rid of all the crap that's in your car, clearing up your kitchen, putting the dishes away. Just make sure that you've got a nice tidy space. Try and get into a routine each day where you're putting things away and you're giving yourself that kind of nice clean start when you come to do whatever it is you want to do in that space. I'd also get into your wardrobe, chuck anything out that you've had in there forever. It doesn't fit you, and you can't move on the rail for stuff because it's so congested in there, and half of the stuff you'll never wear. You're not going to wear it again. Just get rid of it. Have that feel-good feeling, take it to the charity shop or earn some extra cash selling it secondhand. And of course, people are a lot harder, aren't they? It's pretty fair to say that we can't just walk around ejecting people from our lives for the most part. We have family obligations, we have friends that we've had for years, and I think your relationship patterns kind of shift, and sometimes you're not always on the same page or sometimes even in the same book as people that you've just had in your life as a process of routine. That's not to say that they don't deserve a place in your life, but they maybe just need to live in a different section at this point in time. So if you have anybody who is taking your energy, bringing down a mood, not supportive, that's not to say that people can't talk sense into you if you're making a crazy decision. We all need those people around that keep our feet on the ground. But if you have the naysayers and people who maybe have stood in the way of you achieving something before that is very important to you and your heart and you're passionate about it, definitely learn a way of managing that. And it doesn't have to be in a negative way. It can just be that you learn to have an open conversation about what's important to you, or you focus your relationship with that person outside of those goals. So you don't go for them for advice because you know that it's not going to be positive. You save that for the people who are more in a position to support you, and you focus your relationship on the parts that are positive for you guys and that you can share and enjoy, but not have the frustrations that you might have if you share the parts that maybe it's not their skill set to be supporting you on. And definitely don't feel like you're being mean. We all have those people in life where you're not 100% connected because they're living their life and you're living yours. and they can't see through your eyes of what the magic is that you are feeling about something and that you want to pursue. And you might feel that about their goals too. So just learn where to share and where not to share, and where to direct your energy. Learn how to establish your boundaries in the right way. And whilst we're decluttering our lives, let's not forget the tech that we rely so heavily on, that we just fill with stuff, and a lot of it we probably don't need. So if you're one of those people who's running out of storage, that's a huge frustration. It drives me crazy. Even though I have huge capacity on all of my devices, I can still run out of storage quite often. I also recommend delete your apps, and the clearer your phone looks, the more mentally pleasing it is when you go onto your phone. And most of the time we aren't using half of the apps that we download anyway, so make sure that your devices that you paid a lot of money for are working for you. Also very important is life admin, and I think the feeling that you get when you've done it all is just so good. Quite often it's one of those things that you put it off, you put it off, you put it off, and you feel so good when it's all done. So for me, it's chasing my GP, and I still don't have a midwife yet, and I'm really looking forward to getting my next scan booked in, which will be in January, just to check how baby's doing. I don't need any incentive to sort that one out, do I? It's so exciting. I need to make sure that Earl has a vet, his booster's due, just check on the mail redirection, council tax, bin collection, all that kind of thing, on top of the normal admin that you would have if you hadn't just have moved house. So there's lots to be doing there and lots to feel good about when it's done. So define the list that is appropriate for you and get on with that. And I think with the decluttered space and all your life admin done, you can happily move on to budgeting for the year, which I know nobody likes to do. It is one of those harsh realities where you realise that you spend way too much in Starbucks, and your gym membership has been bankrupting you in the background whilst you haven't been using it. No one wants to look at their heating bill at the moment, but knowledge is definitely power in this instance, in that it helps you to plan for the upcoming year and what in your goal list is going to be achievable from a financial sense. Money can really restrict what you do, and it can also really make things happen. So planning carefully for how you spend your money, I think, is a really, really valuable thing. Money for me isn't because you can spend it, you should spend it. I like to focus my budgets on where it matters to me, and then make those savings in areas where it's maybe not quite as important, and really making my money work for me. I work incredibly hard, and I'm really funny about just wasting it. So I like to be aware and have a full picture of my finances on a frequent basis. And if you need to get a spreadsheet, I have various Google Docs and spreadsheets that are very basic, but it allows me to just keep a list of things, keep a check on my finances, and just to know where I'm at, so that I'm not making any outrageous decisions, but also I'm allowing myself a long enough leash. I'm not compromising on my life experiences more than I need to. Without that financial knowledge, I'm just not giving myself the full opportunity to succeed. And I absolutely don't want to restrict my life experiences purely because I don't understand my finance. And isn't it crazy how the world has gone at the moment, in that we're in a period of inflation and we've got this energy crisis, and I think to run away from finance, even though it's a scary subject and something that most people will want to avoid, it's such a critical part of being a foundation to your year planning and how the year will go for you if you understand your finances. And you don't need to be an expert on the stock exchange. You simply need to know what your outgoings are, what your income will be, how much you want to allocate to an emergency fund if your financial income changes for a reason, that at least you know that you have a plan in place if there are some eventualities, and that any surplus money that you have can be put towards your goals and your dreams. Please don't shy away from it. Just make a simple list if you don't want to get into spreadsheets and things, and just kind of know where you're at. And then you can make mindful decisions, and the year will absolutely be much better than kind of wandering around blindly. This is where you get to dream big, and it's just the fun part. So I don't believe that anybody in life should be restricted as to how big they can dream. You can do anything you want to do, and you can be anything. I absolutely love people pursuing what they are passionate about, and there would never be a part of me that would ever think that they were silly or deluded. I would think, you go, you chase that, and even if you don't get 100% of the way there, you'll get so much farther than if you'd have not have bothered, thinking that you're not a natural, you're not genetically gifted, you're not naturally capable or clever or creative, you don't have the right support network. network, you don't have the right background, you don't have the right connections, none of that. I started out life in a way that you would think that my life could have gone very much in one direction, and it is what you make it. I touched on this in another video where everyone has a light and you decide how brightly that shines, and you deserve all of the light for the energy that you put into making that shine. So whatever it is you want to do, you can do it, you can make the plan, and you can get there. I promise, I've been there and I've done it. So just do not be afraid to dream. So, goal setting. You might not actually know how to streamline your goals and your dreams into something that's achievable for the year. So if you're struggling to define what it is that fills you with motivation and really gets you going for 2023, absolutely get involved with a vision board. Choose things that speak to you, that really make you feel something, and maybe you have a passion for, or it's something that if it lives in your mind, it will always be there until you do something. So you either try it, see if you like it, and you dismiss it as not being for you, or you pursue it, enjoy it, carry on, and you see how that slots into your life. But you'll never know unless you just get out there and you start doing it. So if something's living in your mind and it happens to get onto your vision board, absolutely get stuck in and try it out this year. 2023 is the year that if you want to learn to knit or whatever random thing it is that you think you want to learn the baritone, just go and do it, give it a try. And if you don't like it, well, then you've satisfied that niggle in the back of your brain and you know that it is or it isn't for you. One of my absolute favourite things that has served me well for a really long time now is practicing gratitude. Now, I totally get that that can come across as really wishy-washy, and you might be one of those people that you live in the real world. And I think maybe I was one of those people once upon a time. I had a very demanding, high-profile, driven corporate role. Any thought of having to take a step back to practice something that was about positive energy flow or practicing gratitude and all of those things that you think, I don't have time for that. It would be lovely if I was one of those people who had time for those things. I'm sure it would be great to practice those, and you just dismiss them as not being valuable perhaps. And it's something that I have really learned to value. I have been a person that has really struggled with anything like meditation, anything with switching my brain off, but I do really suffer with what I call progressive personality syndrome, in that I just cannot switch off. I'm so excited all the time. Sometimes, most of the time, I can't sleep because I'm so excited for what I've got planned the next day, and it doesn't have to be anything massive. I've just designed a life for myself that I love so much that I just can't wait to get up and get going. So there was a version of myself historically where I wouldn't make time for those things because I didn't feel efficient in doing so. But since I've learned to take a different viewpoint and a different approach, and I'm always open to learning and being wrong about things, since I've taken that on board, I actually work with so much more clarity. I'm so much more streamlined in my decision making because I have a clear route at reaching my happiness markers, whether they're small, medium, or long-term goals. I know that I'm working towards them in a way that equals happiness to me. So everything that I do is so much more efficient and effective that I actually save time. So definitely get involved with gratitude lists. And I found, I think you can get paperback and hardback. I'll put a link below for you. It's just a really lovely book that you can actually get into practicing gratitude. And I'm a person who, I love books, I love notepads, and I respond very well to the kinetic memory of writing things down. If I just have them in my phone, I tend to just log out and I forget about them. Whereas if I have a kinetic memory of writing something down and it's in my book, I'm much more likely to have that in the forefront of my mind when I'm going about doing things. And if I have them live in my present mind, I'm more likely to action them or include them in my day. So have a little look for some kind of stationary things that you can have that are dedicated to your goals. And it's always nice to have nice stationery. And also write in neat handwriting. Apparently there is research to suggest that if you have something that looks pretty in your book, you are more motivated to execute what is on the list, apparently. So get your highlighters out, guys. So now that we know that we can dream big and we can define our goals to what is appropriate to us as individuals, we can now move on to the critical bits that actually make those bigger things happen, and those are your habits. Habits then ladder up into goals, and as we said earlier, goals ladder up into bigger intentions. So we now need to define those habits, which are the make or break of all the big dreams and goals that we might have. And habits, they just sound like something that we just take on board easily and it's something that we just do, and therefore our goals and our dreams will come by default. But sadly, that isn't true. And breaking old habits is quite difficult, and defining new ones, it does take perseverance, and you have to get stuck in, and you've just got to stick with it until you get into the habit that will achieve your goal, and your goal will achieve your big dream. For me, it's important to have sustainable habits. If it's not sustainable and the habits don't happen, I'll never get to the bigger things. I could not schedule an exact time for my makeup, exact time to put the laundry in, and just do that on a robotic time scale every single day. Although I do like a routine, I do like a plan. I think to schedule things out and only give yourself quarter of an hour for something, and you're packing so much in and there's no breathing room in that schedule, for me, it would set me up for failure. I would get up in the morning, and if I was then 10 minutes late and the next thing made me 20 minutes late and my day started to run away, I'd feel like I'm chasing after my day rather than being in charge of it. So I think be careful in setting scheduled habits they're too taxing and they're too stressful and they rip the joy out of things. When we say make good habits, it means learn what makes you feel good. And it might be that instead of sitting and watching morning TV, you get in the shower, you wear something nice. On a Sunday night, you put new bedding on. You just make sure that you set yourself up, like with our environment, that you're in the best place to start that day. So those things become your daily habits and the things that you know make you feel good, and you do them on repeat, and you just naturally get up and you feel good, and your day's just going to start in a positive place. Habits that directly inform your goals need to be more specific. So by doing this, it stops you being that person that says, I would love to do that, but I don't have time. If you really want to do something, you will make time. You cannot convince me that there isn't half an hour in your day that you could commit to something. You most probably wasted half an hour procrastinating online. You watched some rubbish on TV. You were glued to Netflix last night, and you could have put that time into something else. When I had to give up the gym and training, exercise, all my kind of things that made me feel good, that were a sense of achievement, a lot of value in my day came from that, and also being successful in a sport. When that changed overnight, I had the choice of whether to give that time up and not put that time and energy into a goal, or I could do something and learn a new skill, and I could set deadlines and push myself into a new skill set and have that time that I'd wanted historically to get into things that I felt like I didn't have time for. So make sure you're blocking out in your diary time to put to this. It's not going to just magic though. It's not going to turn up at the door. You need to find it from somewhere. So identify the areas in your life that maybe aren't optimal towards your goals, like sitting and watching rubbish, and put that into actually achieving them. It sounds simple, but I think that is one of the most common areas that people will overlook, that they're tired from work, they just want to just go by default to their normal habit and not actually put that extra bit of work in to persevere and define a new habit. I personally like a deadline. I know deadlines can be thought of as being stress-provoking and it's too much intensity, but I do think sometimes a good boot up the backside is not a bad thing. And sometimes your week will run away unless you have a deadline. So for me, I wanted to start a YouTube channel. It's something that was important to me. It had been that voice in the back of my mind for a very long time, but I was living life large, and I honestly don't actually think I could have shoehorned it in if I'd have tried. I haven't actually ever sat, I don't even own a telly. I definitely am not a time-wasting person, but it's been a priority list for me in that it just hasn't happened because I've prioritised other things that I've felt at the time have taken me closer to my happiness markers. But now I'm in a position where I do have a little bit more time. I'm off training, and as I've explained in previous videos, so I can put that time into this, but I still get really busy and other things in life come. I've just moved house, I'm busy planning for a baby. I could say, well, I'm parking this, but I have a deadline in that I don't just want to upload once a month. I don't have a set day because I am realistic in what I can achieve, but I know that I can record X amount of time. I can schedule X amount of edit time alongside the long hours that I work in my current businesses and all the house stuff that I've got at the moment. So I know what's achievable, and I don't let my week run away from me because I've defined a deadline. So we're kind of getting there now, right? We have our big dreams and intentions. We know how to define our goals, and we will have an idea of what habits we need to make sure that those goals and bigger dreams happen. Absolutely, guys. This could be the start of a whole new year. 2023 could be just your year. And I'm not saying that your other years haven't been amazing, but we always have the opportunity to make them even more amazing. So I would urge you to document where you are now. Even if you're in a great place and you know that you just want to be more efficient and just want to keep having a little bit of a better year. All of that adds up. So whether you are making small changes to your happiness over the next year, or you are setting huge goals and big dreams and you're going to go all out this year, absolutely document your starting point. It doesn't have to be your physique. It can be anything. There'll be a way of documenting it so that you can do a comparison down the line. And quite often when we are progressive types like you or I, you wouldn't be watching this video if you weren't. You can get so into the process and you're enjoying it, and that's great, but we can forget where we came from, and we're so focused on a little bit further down the road that we're not appreciating smelling the roses where we are now. So definitely take your mini wins, take the process and enjoy it and document it, and know that all of those small wins are going to add up into that bigger picture that is just going to make for an amazing year. And all of those skills that you will learn, you'll carry into the next year. And within a decade, we're going to be talking about where we started back in 2022 and see what an amazing road we've traveled on. I really, really hope this video has been useful and it's been motivating so that you can just make those changes, whatever they are to you. Good luck with your planning. You know where I am if you need me. If you are enjoying my videos, absolutely give me a subscribe and a thumbs up, because a lot of people are coming onto Instagram and saying your videos are amazing, it's lovely that you're on camera, and giving me loads of wonderful feedback, and I absolutely love it. And it's great talking to you guys now that I've got a separate personal account over on Instagram, but I'd really love to see that level of interaction on YouTube so that we can open things up to a wider audience and get more people involved. It'd be really great if I saw you over on this channel, and also so that I know what to do more or less of, so that I can help you guys out if I can. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm gonna see you in the next one. He doesn't know it's a wide lens. And he's off again. He's also got sellotape stuck to his bum, which is quite funny. Kids. If you can't goal set for happiness, guys, just borrow my dog. I don't think I've ever had a day around this dog where I just haven't felt blissful and happy. Wait! Who's on there?